Okay, perfect. So, just Ritika, the slides, will you be taking it forward or would I be
Yes,
doing
Prerna.
it?
I'll be changing it. Can you see the overview slide?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
great. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. So, hi everyone. We'll start with what the Great Scholarship is. So a lot of students know about the British Council Evening Scholarship and Commonwealth Scholarship, but Great Scholarship somehow is like a hidden gem there. So I'm going to jump right into it and introduce it to all of you. So firstly, Great Scholarship offers students from 15 countries to have at least £10,000 towards their tuition fees for a wide variety of one-year taught programs only. So as you can see in the slides, there are 210 scholarships offered by 71 universities across England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Each scholarship is jointly funded by UK government's Great Britain campaign and the British Council with the participating university. So what this is basically the £10,000 amount is what the British Council gives in, but the participating UK university and the campaign can add on to this amount. So this is why you will get minimum £10,000 as tuition contributing towards the tuition fee, but depending on what the participating university and the campaign gives, it can be increased. And that is why it just varies so much, right? From which course, which country, which university you're applying to. So this scholarship requires a lot of due diligence from your side to figure that out. So India is one of the countries which is you are eligible to apply for the Great Scholarship. Can we move to the next slide, Ritika? Perfect. So for eligibility for Indian students is you have to be a citizen of India. You have to have an undergraduate degree. So this scholarship does not require work experience as mandatory. I think 2 years is preferred, but don't get discouraged by that because I applied right after my undergrad and I got in. So as long as you're able to show that you have interest in the subject area and the university, you are good to go. Next slide, please. Now the requirement. So basically, this requirement is after you get the great scholarship, how you are basically helping them out. But none of this is like super harsh or anything. Sorry, yeah, none of this is super harsh or anything because basically establish an engagement with UK as a scholar, willing to attend networking events, be willing to maintain contact with British Council, be an alumni of great scholarship. So it's all very generic and none of it is like a lot, doesn't require a lot of hours or it's not very taxing post yours you receiving scholarship because it's been like 4 years and I haven't really had to engage much or contribute a lot of my time to it. But this is just so you know that they can count on you and as like any alumni of any university you would be, it's the same thing like that. So not to worry about this. Can we have the next slide? Right. So this is what I was talking about, that you have to do your due diligence about great scholarship really, really carefully. So if you can look at the screen, you will see that the left-hand side, it says the University of Bristol is offering great scholarships, each worth £10,000. So basically, the university is not contributing anything, it's just £10,000. But now if you see, the scholarships are available for Nigerian and Pakistani students for all full-time postgraduate taught programs. But below you see for Indian students in this university, it is just for students who want to pursue justice and law course. So there are a lot of nitty gritties in terms and conditions in terms of what who actually eligible for the scholarship if it's suitable or not. So please have a very, very thorough look at it because you can see the Nigerian Pakistani students in Bristol can apply for any course and they're eligible for Blue Scholarship. But for India, it's just for justice and law. Now, if you move towards the right-hand side screenshot, you will see the University of St. Andrews is offering great scholarship in general, £10,000 again for Greece, India, Malaysia, Mexico, Thailand. But Mexico, it's worth £20,000. So now they've added some amount. They're contributing to it for the Mexico students, and that's absolutely their discretion. Now, if you look below, you can also see that for some Thailand and Ghana students, they're also giving £20,000 but only those who will do programs related to climate change. And the subject was a long list. I've just shortened it. So again, there's a lot of variety of funding and eligibility depending on which university you're applying to, what course you're applying to, where you're coming from. So please be very thorough with your research. So when you go to the Great Scholarships website and then you go to the university website, just please see if you're actually eligible or not for that. Can we have the next slide? This is an example from the Angela Ruskin University scholarship page that gives details about great scholarship for Indian students. So as you can see, they're asking for you to be full-time postgraduate taught degrees only. Then you need to be a passport holder. You need to have a offer, conditional, unconditional. So that is the prerequisite for you to even apply for great scholarship. Great scholarship is not something I'll get to the questions towards the end, but yeah, you can please you can keep writing them on your chat box. So for great scholarships, like I was saying from this university website, as you can see, the details they have the complete online application form, the key dates. Again, if you see, it changes. So for China and Turkey, it's 24th May, while for India, it's 28th June. So just because you saw the deadline at one website, at one university for one course, you think it's a general norm. No, it is not. It differs. So please keep a tab on it. And yeah, so next slide, please. Right, the timeline of the Great Scholarship, it's very important. And then just to disclaimer, this is a general timeline. This is not a very specific timeline. So first your research and preparation that goes before you have decided your university application, right? So you start searching for what potential university and courses you would be applying to, and then you can go to the Great Scholarship website and check if those university and courses are providing the Great Scholarship. Then you do your university application, which is starts from September till it goes till March, depending on which university you're applying to. So you do that the year prior to which you want to get enrolled in. Then comes the scholarship nomination application. So, like I was saying, what happens in Great Scholarship, it's not like a Commonwealth Achievement Scholarship where you apply externally. This is something you can only apply to after you get the offer from the university. That's the first step for the scholarship. And the offer has to be conditional or unconditional either, because I applied when I was in my final year of law. So I had a conditional offer depending on my percentage of the final semester, like the cumulative percentage. So after you receive the offer letter, then if you're eligible for the Great Scholarship, they will send you an email saying, "Oh, you've applied, you've gotten this offer letter. We would like to let you know that you are eligible to apply for this scholarship." So you can fill up this form and everything. Now the thing is, what happens is, so all the students who are eligible to apply for the Great Scholarship, they'll all fill up the form, whoever wants to, and the university will choose one person and nominate them to the British Council. Then, similarly, every university does that. Then you will be competing with all the nominations from every university in UK for the scholarship. So, after you fill up your application nomination form with the university will again notify you often in late spring or early summer that we have selected you and we are nominating you. So I'll explain this all to you a little in depth with the email that I had received when I was doing my application process, so that will help you understand the procedure a bit more, because a bit complicated than the other scholarships in terms of it has a lot of university collaboration because it's a joint scholarship. Again, questions I will get on later. Uh, then once you're nominated, then you will be going to the British Council, will send you an email and the whole application procedure. You will go through the fresh application process again, this time with the British Council. So the first step was for the university. Once you clear that, then the second step comes to the British Council. Once you clear that, you'll have the interview and then they'll give the final result in like 15-20 days itself. So for this year, as you can see, the deadline varies, but the all the universities should likely award by 30 June 2024. So in my time, it was 1st July. But so now this is 30th June this year. So that's the basic general timeline of the scholarship application process. Can you get the next slide? This is an example of funding websites of universities. So as you can see, this one says you have to submit it by 4 p.m. on April 5. Again, now it differs from university to university, the deadline shifts. So if you're applying to this particular scholarship in this particular university, it says 5th April 2004. And then it'll say, oh yeah, you'll receive a thanks for the submission message. And if you have applied, so now in this case, it's for Economic and Social Research Council. Oh no, it's a different one. So yeah, basically you can see that the funding application is like different from every university and the dates also different. I think it's like I am repeating it a lot because I know a lot of students who miss it just because they think, oh, they've seen it on one website that the opportunity is still like 30th April, so they take it as an umbrella. It's not that. You need to have individual tabs. Next slide, please. Right. So this is a application process in a very concise manner. I will elaborate more on it in later slides. So, like you can see, firstly, you'll visit the university page and find out about great scholarships and what courses and what departments it's giving it for. Then you will follow the website on the university website and you'll follow all the information there. You can actually go and check all those information and then you apply following the instructions. So it's usually the university also have their own the whole SOP. And one peculiar fact that I found at least in 2019 when I was applying for the scholarship was they were not just SOP, it was very brief, a lot of prompt questions. So it really, and they had very clear um, like the word limit was really less. So they were prompt and then they were like, oh, you need to answer this in 100 words and 200 words. And there was like a lot of such questions. So they understand exactly what you want to say and you can't really meander or just like glorify things like that. So I don't know if that changed this year or not because they keep doing a little bit here and there. But apart from the personal statement, they have a lot of these questions. So be very, very careful with those kind of questions because you will then understand because they want very specific answers. So if they're asking, oh, why this course given 100 words, be very specific and as real you can. So then you will go, the successful scholars will be informed by the universities and then the scholarship funding will be issued to you. So the scholarship funding would directly go from the British Council to the university and it will be reflected and it will all be done before the visa process actually because then you can show in your visa that oh yeah this is done, so they'll all this all will be done by themselves. You don't have to worry about any of that. So once you've written the offer letter saying oh yeah you've gotten the scholarship, they'll do it everything backhanded and you will not even face, because it's a British Council scholarship, it also helps a lot in getting visa very fast because they know they can trust on you. They know you're going to a good university, good course, and the British Council is paying you for it. Like because my college results came super late. My college results came like a month and a half after I'd received the scholarship. So I had to apply for a priority visa, which I needed in 3 days to go. And I was just like going so anxious about it, but it really helped because I had the scholarship because they did not even verify. I mean, asked for all the documents for me. They just saw the main documents, very few, and they were like, yeah, you're good to go. So don't worry about once you get the scholarship of the funds and all of that, they'll handle it. Next slide, please. There's another example from University of Glasgow. Now, again, this is great scholarship for science and technology. And they are only giving 10,000 tuition fee month. And then as you can see, it's just for you have to be passport holder of India. Then the applicants might have applied, accepted a place, and met all the conditions of the offer by 31st May. Again, a different deadline if you see. It's 31st May here. Okay, they also have a condition: applicant must not be in receipt of any other source of funding from an external funding body, University of Glasgow. So as you can see, we did not see it in the previous form, but University of Glasgow has an additional condition for when you're applying for great scholarship. This is why it's important to go through every university's course very carefully, if where you're applying to and what all they require. And then the rest is again the same about all the established engagement, high standards, and be active with work experience, all of that again the same. And if you see here, they already said deadline for apply for the scholarship is 19th April 2024, which in the previous university was 4th, and the shortlisted interviews will be conducted by 10th May. Completely different timeline. But it ranges in the same area from end of March till first week of July. That's the basic area of the grade scholarship timeline. Next slide, please. Okay, now there's another example of the application form from University of Southampton. As you can see, the university, okay, so this university wants you to have 500 words SOP, and they have pointers of what you should be including in it, which is like, why have you chosen to study this field at the University of Hampton? Examples of your leadership skills. Explain how you would. Okay, I think this question they always ask, like, if they give you a scholarship, and then how would you help them being their ambassador, not just for the duration of that 1 year, but for life? Like, how will you contribute to British Council? How will you help British Council? And this is not just in terms of the course you're doing, it is like in general, in leadership, in marketing, in just like ensuring that everybody knows the scholarship, or just like any event of British Council. This question, I think, has been a standard question, maybe a little tweak here and there, but you must know the answer of how will you be contributing to the British Council forever, apart from the course that you're applying to. Then, yeah, how do you feel this scholarship will support you to achieve your goals? I think this is also a common question, and that this includes both short-term goals and long-term goals. So, if they you have like one or two scholarship for the entire country, so they want to be very, very sure that the person that they're giving this scholarship to, A, really needs it, and B, really is going to do justice of it. Now, I must add here, this is a merit-based scholarship. This is not a need-based scholarship. Um, in my experience and what I was told when I was applying was, it's don't harp on your socio-economic background much on merit-based scholarship, because it can be taken in a negative way, where they think, A, you can see it's merit based, and yet you're pitching in your socioeconomic background, so they see it more like you're using it as a tactic than what your general difficulties are. So I'm not saying you don't mention it at all, maybe just like in a line, in a subtle way, but don't be like, oh, I need this scholarship because I don't have the money. They don't care about this. It's more about, I need this scholarship because I'm good enough. So that should be your focus for the scholarship. Then again, all the general details, yeah, the English language requirement. I hope, yeah. So this scholarship, so no waiver. So if you're applying for, I'm sure it's for most scholarships, but again for grade scholarship also. So if you're applying for university for waivers, it won't fly with grade scholarship, because the university might give you the waiver, but the scholarship doesn't. So the minimum eligibility criteria of the IELTS or TOEFL or whatever English language requirement you have need to be met for grade scholarship. Uh, yes. Yeah, also this is not a scholarship that can be deferred, unlike some scholarships. So if you're not able to take it in the year it is given to you, you can't take it next year, and it won't be deferred, no matter how excluding the circumstances are. This is their absolutely complete policy, and they don't really deviate from it. Next slide, please. Okay, I think we just discussed this about how what kind of questions they want and how you're going to answer those. So again, you can see it's a very small bracket of minimum 250 words and maximum 500 words, and you need to explain all these four pointers. So what happens is you see the pointers and you take it like as a general guidance and then you frame it, which is fine as a framework, but you must see that your statement of purpose is very clearly answering all the prompts, all the questions mentioned. And I don't mean like it has to be like a different subheading wise. I just mean these questions when I read the statement, I need to see, yeah, tick, 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 tick. All the questions, all the queries are answered in it. So you need to frame your SOP in a way that all their prompts are answered very clearly, very specifically. That's one thing you must keep in your mind. Yes. Next slide, please. Okay, there's again a funding application. I'm gonna come to your questions in the later slide, guys, because I think a lot of will this be answered when I share my experience of application process. Next slide. Right. So now this comes of my experience of applying to University of Edinburgh and how it panned out. So, the first screen. So these are all the screenshots of emails that I have received. So I've removed all the confidential information, but still, just for make you guys understand this, that's the only purpose of these emails. It's not to be shared or anything otherwise. So I'm gonna ask you to first look at the left corner, the one which says in blue, Edinburgh Law School Postgraduate Office. Now, this is the first one where I received that we are delighted that you have applied for this course and you have received an offer and they're congratulating me. And then you're like, oh yeah, you will be studying with this great academic community and all of that. So that's the first email. I mean, I've received multiple emails, but like that's the first step where they've given you an offer and you have accepted it for the application process. So the first email is like they send you, oh, you have the conditional, unconditional offer, and this is the time till when you can accept it. And Edinburgh has a very specific time for it. Like I was given 15 days, and it was somewhere in the March that I had to accept it. Then, as you can see, the longer screenshot, which says, Dear applicant, you are receiving this email as recently you've been made this offer. And as part of this year's India Great Scholarship 2019, the university has teamed up with British Council and the Great to offer 3 fully funded scholarships. So now Edinburgh University partnered up. So in my time, I was given a fully funded scholarship because the university stepped in to contribute. So here you can see there were 3 fully funded scholarships and very specific streams: law, education, and health science with one each. I was the one who got in the law one. So again, so note the scholarships will cover the duration of your intended 1 year master's program. So 1 year master's program, law, fully funded. All three, I was eligible to apply. So then again, I got the email saying, oh yeah, dear Prerna, if you look at the right-hand side email, I would like to draw your attention because you were eligible for it. So I had applied for a master's in criminal law and criminal justice. And so they were like, oh, if you're interested, you need to fill up the form, go to the website. So this was me going through the application process of the university before they nominated me, because everybody who was applying for law was eligible for the scholarship at the University of Edinburgh. So they all did their application process. So we were given a form and all of that. And again, essay, SOP, questions, all of that happened, or I think over a month or something. Then I received the email. Next slide, please. Right. So now, as you can see, I received an email after I completed all the procedure that congratulations on your admission to the University of Edinburgh. We are delighted to inform you that we have nominated you for the Great Scholarships India 2019. So now I have cleared the one stage, which is the university stage of competition. and the university has decided that I'm the only person they would like to nominate to the British Council for the Great Scholarship. So my stage one is clear. Now again, they've repeated the details: with education scholarship of a prospective undergraduate and postgraduate. So even an undergraduate is like 1 year. So it's basically a scholarship for a year only. So it works very well for postgraduates because postgraduates are for 1 year in most of the universities and courses. So it's fully paid for you. If you were selected for the scholarship, you will be offered a full tuition scholarship to study at the UK university that has nominated. And that is the key point because, as you could see, a lot of universities give £10,000 only because they're not partnering up in terms of they're not collaborating in terms of funding. But because Edinburgh did, so it was a fully funded scholarship. Then again, they're giving me, oh, you can have the link here, you can see it, and you can complete your application. And for me, it was complete your application and references before 31st of May that you had to do it. So this is the second round basically where I have done everything in terms of application process, essays, and all of that for British Council directly. Now there was no link to the university, like I wasn't going through university, it was directly to the British Council. Next slide, please. Right now, again, to clarify in three simple points of the stages for the scholarship using my experience. First, as I said, I received an email from the university announcing that they would recommend one candidate to the British Council. Uh, you cannot apply directly for it. Again, you cannot apply directly for GRADE scholarship, unlike most other external scholarship, because it is jointly funded. It has to go through university, and once you have accepted the offer, then I needed to, if I intended for myself to be considered for the scholarship, I need to submit an application, which I did. After a month, as you saw in the email, I received communication informing me that the university had chosen my application and would nominate me to the British Council. That was stage one. Stage two, the British Council emailed me to apply for the scholarship. Now, the fact that I had been nominated by the university was just like a eligibility criteria for British Council. It wasn't like, oh yeah, she's cleared stage one. It was like, oh yeah, she's eligible to it. So I had to start from the scratch again with British Council, with all the competing against all the nominated students from across the UK. Then I submitted my application and all of that was done. Then a month later, I received the news that my application had been selected and now I would be required to attend an interview, which is the final stage. The interview was a panel discussion, which consisted of, I think, like very senior professionals from the university, both in UK and India, and the heads of British Council and the Ministry and University of Edinburgh, of course. So it was a few people representing the best of every aspect. Then once the interview was done, then I received like 15 days later the result through an email saying, oh yeah, I've been chosen for that scholarship, which was 1st of July in my year. Next slide, please. Right. So now the top tips for writing the personal statement, which is very, very important for any scholarship application and of course for this scholarship application as well. So basically, your motivation, the first thing you should be highlighting is why are you interested in that particular field? So a lot of these areas of writing the personal statement sort of also overlaps with what you're writing for the university. But please don't like just copy paste the same thing because they can, if they want, have access to your university SOP as well. And if it's just the same of what you've written to the university and then what you've written to them, that would not be a good look on you. It would just be like, oh, you have just one generic format that you're just copy pasting everywhere. So you will start with the motivation because it is so course and university specific. So they really need to know it's because you want to study this course at this particular university only. And it's not like you're making a general application to the UK and just because this university is giving a scholarship of applying here. It should look like you really want this university with this course. Second, like I said, it's a merit-based scholarship. So your achievements, your marks, your grades are extremely, extremely important here. Like grade scholarship, at least in my time, they were very, very strict with the percentage they would expect and the English language requirement. So I had to be in like top 1.1% or 0.2%, something like that, to be considered a good candidate for the scholarship. And anyway, in the university also had a very strict, um, yeah, academic traditionally percentage base. It was not giving any leeway if you had like a low percentage and other co-curricular activities that a lot of university do consider. But Edinburgh was also like, you need to get in the first division, you need to be this percentage if we will take you, and if you get the scholarship. So you had to maintain that percentage throughout. So grades matter a lot. So you're going to highlight your academic achievements, relevant work experience. If you don't have a work experience, internships. That's what I did. I had a lot of internships in criminal law area and very specific internships about what I wanted to do later. That's because I knew I like criminal law a lot, and that's where I want my career in. So I think that really helped because you could see the clarity from my answers because I knew it's just criminal law for me. Any awards, any recognitions, any research that you have done, mention it, but not in a braggy way. It has to be in a very subtle way that you're mentioning it, but you just for them to know that you're good enough, but also that you're not being like, oh yeah, I am so great. That balance, like again, you meant the balance that you do in your normal SOPs for your university, you do here as well. Now, clearly articulate your career goals. This is so important. I cannot emphasize on this enough. They are looking to give scholarship to somebody who knows what they will do after this course, both short term and long term goals. They're not looking to give the scholarship to somebody who just wants to like study or who just wants to have a year abroad. You need to have very clear, specific steps that you will take after this course. So they know their money is not being wasted and it is going to a hand who really wants to make a difference. Which again, I'll skip to the cultural impact, I'll come to it later. Contribution to the home country. I think, like most British council scholarships, actually, wait also, there's a lot of focus on what will you do for your home country. So you take a British council scholarship and you can't be like, oh yeah, I want to have like a trainee contract in the UK. They're not paying you for that. They are paying you actually to come back. There's no requirement in a British scholarship though that you have to have come back. Like there are in other scholarships that I know of where they say, oh, after you finish it, you have to come out. But here, in this case, you don't have that condition, but it really, really helps if your goals and if your potential is about how you will apply your knowledge and skills gained in UK to contribute to the home country. Because the reason they're giving the Grace Scholarship, they've chosen certain countries, right? And these are not first world countries. So it's about how you learn, pick up things from there, and then sort of apply to your own country for a betterment of the world. So that idea has to be in mind when you are developing your goals and your career prospects. That should reflect it. Now, the cultural ambassador, yeah. So basically, with great scholarship, you need to show um, that how you interested in the cultural exchange, how will you add to that, like the difference. Basically, they want diversity, and then you would need to sort of show how you will make that diversity, ease into that diversity, how you will contribute to the UK culture, how would UK culture contribute to yours, if there's, anything specific that you like that you're looking for, or what are your expectations, all of that sort of having the cultural element in that. Now, the alignment with the scholarship objectives. So you need to see that every scholarship you're applying goes general. When you're applying the scholarship and you want to write the SOP, read what the scholarship's objectives are, because when they write, oh yeah, this scholarship is for da, read it, see what their objectives are, and try to frame your own objectives that aligns with those objectives. So if like a scholarship is saying, for example, that oh yeah, this scholarship is for students who want to, after getting a scholarship after their course, want to work in, let's say, public sector. And then you're writing your SOP and you're like, oh yeah, after I get scholarship, I wish to get like a really good job letter from this like huge firm or like this huge organization I've always wanted to work in. It's completely failing the purpose of that scholarship. That's not what their scholarship for. The scholarship is for you to do some work and then get into public sector. This is just an example. It's not about great scholarship. What I'm trying to say is the scholarships have their own objectives. So try to understand their objectives and see if your objectives align with those, and then frame your SOP in that way. Again, the personal qualities. So what makes you a good candidate for the scholarships? It's leadership skills, community involvement, resilience, whatever qualities you mention, give examples. It's not going to be just like, oh yeah, I'm a good leader, or no, I've worked a lot in the, I don't know, community services. We need evidence. And also, please do not lie on it. This is a scholarship application. If you lie on it and if they ask for evidence, you're going to be blacklisted, and not just from this scholarship. British Council, they have so many scholarships. You don't want to be blacklisted from, it's a major external funding from British Council. So please don't lie about anything that you cannot prove. They may or may not ask for the evidence, but if they do and you're not able to produce it, it will reflect so poorly on you. Don't do that. Next slide, please. So yeah, some general tips now again. So like I keep mentioning throughout this session, research well, explore the different universities and courses you want to apply to and which, fits your academic and career goals. Ensure your academic records, personal statements, and references are strong and relevant. Academic records, I mean, I've heard diverse views on it, and it might be true, but in my experience and my opinion, academic records hold way much value than I think what people give to it. Especially that's what I've seen, because even so, like I said, I got my scholarship result 2 months before my final result of my law LLB. And still, even though I had received that scholarship, Edinburgh sent me an email saying your scholarship and admission still would be dependent if you're getting XYZ percentage or not. There was still no leeway, there was still no waiver, like, oh yeah, you've gotten the scholarship, so now even if you're just getting this much, it's okay. No, it still wasn't. They did not waive or way differ from what the initial statement was of how much percentage they're expecting out of me. And even though I was an international scholarship holder, I was still super anxious the entire 2 months, thinking if I'm meeting that percentage or not. So academic records, law is a traditional course, matters a lot. Understand the deadlines. Again, like I said, I showed you through all the illustrations. The deadlines for both the university and the scholarship varies so much. Uh, Keep your SFP focused, concise, genuine, because they read SOPs like day and night. They know when you're being genuine and when not. So don't try to act over smart. And like I said, do not lie on it, because they will find out, and then it will ruin your career, at least in UK, because that's British Council. They have collaborations with everybody, and if they blacklist you, there's nothing you can do there. Next slide, please. Again, exact timelines can vary significantly. So please go to the university website and see what it says. Early preparation is the key. Yes, I mean, I think great scholarship in one way is good to apply to because it comes so late, because all the other scholarships like you have would have earlier deadlines back in September, October, November, December. But grade scholarship, since it starts after you receive the acceptance, is probably one of those scholarships which comes at a later stage where you won't be applying for any other scholarships because they all end so fast, so early. So if you prepare for this one, the timeline for this scholarship, you wouldn't really have much distraction to prepare because you're already sorted in terms of your application of university. You already have a confirmed offer. There's no other scholarships that's working during that time. That's basically starting during that time. So you can have your entire focus on grade scholarship. Including remarks would be your application's strong statement that reiterates your enthusiasm for the opportunity and how the scholarship will be crucial in your educated and career path. Like I said, your goals, both short term and long terms. And yes, keep a track of deadlines because if you miss it, you'll be disqualified. There's too many people, too many amazing students for applying. They don't have time for you to be neglectful and reckless about it. Next slide. Is there any? Yeah. So now I'd be happy to take questions. You can raise your hand or let me know. Meanwhile, I'll just see the chat box. Okay, so the question that says, are the universities mentioned on the website only the university? Because I couldn't find Imperial, Cambridge, and Oxford. Yeah, so if you couldn't find it, then that's the only universities that are participating this year. The universities that participate differs every year. So it doesn't have to be that all the top universities are there every year, it changes. We need to express an interest to be considered for the scholarship. No, you don't. They will reach out to you. I honestly did not even know about paid scholarship. So they will reach out to you if you're eligible, saying you can apply for this. And in case you already know and they don't reach out to you, then after you get your acceptance letter, you can reach out to them saying, oh, I want to apply for this scholarship. What is the procedure? But not at the time of applying to the university.
Prerna, do you mind if I read out the questions so that they
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
know?
Yes.
Right, okay. Is there a British Council website where we can get compiled information on the applicable courses and universities?
So the British Council, there is a British Council website of Great Scholarship. You can go there, but it's not like you'll find each and every detail there one after the another in a very simple fashion. They'll have you a list of universities, they'll have the list of participating countries, and then once you go inside, they'll have which country, which university is participating for which country. Then more inside you go, then you will realize, oh, which university is participating for which course with which country, and then you go to the university website and also read there. So you won't have like one page with all this compiled, concise, tabulated information. You'll have to dig in deep, but yeah, the website does have it.
Okay. And the next question is the process for applying to the university different from applying to the scholarship, or is it streamlined?
No, so I mean, the applying to the university is like how you apply to any university, right? That doesn't differ if you will be applying later to the British Council website or something like that. It would simply be that you're applying for the university for that particular course because the university wouldn't be giving you admission just because you want to apply for great scholarship later and feel used in that sense. The university will take you when they know that you're interested in studying in their university that particular course. So it's different in terms of when you're applying for the university, your focus has to be the course and the university, not the funding.
Right. And the next question is, do we have to submit any SEO statement to apply for the scholarship? Now, you've already gone over this in your presentation, but maybe if you can just briefly talk about it again.
Right. So, like I said, they have pointers. So ensure the essay that you're writing to have those pointers. Now, it could be an essay or it could change, and they can just have questions and pointers that year. Like I said, in my time, apart from the personal statement, there were just like so many small questions which were like answer this in 100 words, answer this in 50 words, which really wanted to get out all the relevant information out of me, because if you have to answer something in 50 words, it has to be super crisp. So it can be an essay, and it can also be a lot of short prompt questions.
Right. How much of your study was supported by the scholarship? Does it also contribute to your maintenance expenses?
Like I said, no, not maintenance, but the entire it was fully funded in terms of the entire university expenditure. But the living cost was my own.
Right. Okay. Uh, can you please share the ARU scholarship page link where all the details are mentioned? Not sure what the
Eh,
ARU link is.
yeah. Gonna- Is that
Okay,
the Angela Ruskin University thing?
probably,
Uh,
but
you again just go to their website and just go to the funding page. You will see all the scholarships, so you can just go and do
yeah,
that. It's not that difficult. Yeah.
exactly. Okay. The last question we have here is, what are the essays and SOPs for the scholarship? The questions and prompts. Also, what kind of questions do they ask in the interview? So maybe if you can talk a little bit about the type of questions you had to answer in the application, that would
Yeah.
be great.
So, again, the SOP you saw an example. So that's pretty much what usually the SOP has is like what, why, what goals, how would you add to us, ambassador, all of that. Essays, they can ask you to write on a particular topic, or they can ask you to elaborate on a particular experience that you have mentioned. They can again ask you to write a separate essay highlighting a particular skill of yours. So it varies. Like I think I've written an essay which I think I had to write a separate essay specifically highlighting my relevant work skills for the particular course. So even I did not have that particular work experience, like I did not have years of work experience. I had my internship, so I sort of utilized what I've learned from the internship and translated that as a work experience to substantiate my essay. But please don't mention this as work experience. Mention it as learning experience of your internship. Don't just use the word work and internship like a same, like a synonyms. Please don't do that. It's not synonyms. Then what question and prompts? Like again, I mentioned the prompts you'll be given. What question? It was very small questions also, like, oh, what will you do 2 years after graduating from here? What are your plans? Answer in like 100 words. What are your 5 years plans? What are your 10-year plans? What do you plan to go to the home country? What will you do if you don't get the scholarship? Which university will you join if you don't get the scholarship? Would you still be doing the same course? Would you still be? So there were a lot of these situational types questions as well, of what you would do in this condition. So a lot of situation questions, not just in terms of legal, but just like very analytical, trying to get to know where your head is. So if this happens, what would you do? If this doesn't happen, what would you do? So a lot of these situation types questions were also there, which had to be answered in very short, like 100, 200 words. Interview was, I would say, they asked me a lot of legal questions. So interview was not just personal, it was very technical. So interview, and they sort of, it was not like separated also. So they were jumping right from the fact that, oh, what did you do in this internship, to like, oh, what law does this? And they asked me questions about space law. I think that was a deliberate move because I have zero idea about space law. I was applying for a criminal law course. I was very firm with my entire criminal law thing, and they asked me questions about space law and how criminality would come in space law. Do I know of anything? Do I know any recent decision in international law of criminal law? So a lot of technical questions were coming in there. So for interview, I would recommend preparing technical questions also in terms of the GK, or like if you've mentioned any particular area in your SOP within the law, or like anything within your aspect of the course, just be in touch with the theory, the principles, and the latest developments, or anything else interesting that you can add to it, because the interview can be technical. Again, will depend on the panel. But for me, it was fairly technical and personal mix, and it was just like jumping right up and down from there. So it wasn't even like, oh yeah, first we'll ask you technical questions and then there'll be like a one-on-one interaction. It was just like, oh yeah, you did this and okay, not answer this section. You did this and now. So it was also sort of, I think it's also a tactic because it keeps you just so occupied on your toes, because right now you're discussing, oh, how much do you like writing and what is your favorite book? And the next question would be like, yeah, what is criminality in space law? So just sort of, yeah, interview is tricky in that sense because there's going to be both technical and personal mixed. Is there any
Right.
other
Okay.
question?
That's all the questions we have, but I just wanted to, ask you one question about like the situational questions that you had in your application process. So you
Yeah.
had previously mentioned that it's good to not talk too much about your socioeconomic background. So I'm wondering, when you have questions like, if you don't receive the scholarship, will you still take up the course? How do you then answer those questions?
Yeah, so see, like I said, when they are prompting it and they want to know, if I mention it, then it's not me using my socioeconomic background. So I can fairly answer saying, oh yeah, if I don't get the scholarship, I'd not be able to afford this, studying here in this university with this much money. That's fine. But I will not mention this as part of my SOP as a highlight that, oh, I need this scholarship because I can't study otherwise. So in terms of if you have a specific prompt about this, yes, you can mention, but don't make it the highlight of your entire application.
Yeah, great. Do we have any more questions? Okay. So meanwhile, let me just add this link to the chat box. So we are recording all of these public workshops and we have them all uploaded onto YouTube. So I'm sending the link in the chat box. And also, if you have any other queries, you can always reach out to us at info@projecteduaccess.com. Again, here's the link.
Yeah, and if you have
All
any
right.
other questions about great scholarship also in general, you can also find me on LinkedIn, on the website, everywhere. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. All right. So I think we don't have any more questions. So we can end the session then. So again, thank you everyone for joining our session today, and thank you so much, Prerna, for patiently explaining about the Great
No
Scholarship
problem.
and answering all of the questions. All right then, going to stop the recording.